everyone, and welcome to another Let's Play of King's Quest II, the AGD interactive remake of the Sierra original. My name is Anna Mardal. In our last playthrough, it had turned night, and we had visited Possum's grandmother, who told us a story about her husband and how he died after being bit by a very large bat. But she still feels like he's with her and watches over her while she's aged, and their child grew, and then the child presumably parented Possum, the little granddaughter we've been interacting with. She gave us her husband's black cloak and ring. The black cloak would fit a man taller than you. The ring is gold with an enormous red ruby. The word beloved is engraved inside the band. I have a feeling that it might be a good idea to disguise ourselves. You are now wearing the beautiful ruby red ring. With a flourish, you fashion the black cloak around your neck and fasten it. That's a nice animation detail. It actually looks a lot like the cloak that Graham wears in King's Quest V. So I like that from an animation perspective. Now it's time to muster up our courage and go to the castle, which is up north. Okay, I'm not sure if there's music or not. I keep feeling like there's a faint strain of music, but I don't know. As you all know, my hearing is not a very strong sense for me. A tree not much more than a stump has presumably been reduced to its present size by a woodcutter. A log lies on the ground. You look under the log, but find nothing. It was a good idea, though. That's sweet. A big leafy tree grows well, even at the rear of this cave. I seem to have gotten myself lost. No, I don't think this is right. I didn't want to pass in front of Hagatha's cave, but we may have no choice. We'll pass quickly. Through the clearing, you can make out part of what appears to be a gloomy swamp. It does not seem overly welcome to visitors. This is a dreary, oppressive swamp. Everything here seems to be growing near foul-smelling water. Very little light manages to filter in through the thick canopy like leaves from above. The swamp is not something that seems easy to navigate since we can't see very well. But we have this paper that we found in the church in the Bible. Shine, why early, newborn sun, when sadly we'd nearly won. That's kind of gibberishy. But each of the letters that start each of those words is a letter that is used in a direction. S for south, W for west, E for east, and N for north. The dark water looks foul and reeks of something fouler. You strongly suspect it may be tainted by poison. So, maybe we should go south west, east, north, south. West, east, north, south. West, south, west, northwest. West, south, west, north, west. If we did this correctly, from here you cannot make out much detail. However, it is unquestionably a castle. So we have navigated the swamp successfully. Well done, us. This shrouded ghoul looks very frightening. His hands are little more than claws, and his face is nearly completely hidden inside the hood of his shroud. He is standing in a small boat.
Boatman, I need passage. I said, I heard.
The ghoul's voice chills you to the bone. It speaks with a deep, resonating bitterness. You cannot make out a great deal of its face, but what you can see has the hairs on the back of your neck standing on end.
In life, I would row this boat for the master. Long ago was my untimely death in these waters, but I still remember many things. Laughter, tears, joy, pain.
May I cross, Sir Boatman?
You have come to raid the master's house. This I know, but care not about. You should be warned, though, the master is not what he once was. Never has this land known a kinder, more compassionate, and nobler ruler than he. But his fate has long since been decided. Down a dark path he now treads, and he feels not for anyone or anything, save for one other, and even that is a rare trait for a Nosferatu.
You freeze. Neither the Door of Destiny nor Neptune mentioned this count as being undead.
If I may ask, Sir Boatman, how did this swamp come to be here? Is it natural? No. The ground you are standing on was once farming land and dwellings for the peasantry. How did it come to be like this? A score of years passed after the master died, and a great morass opened up, covering the surrounding land with slime and poisoned water. Once rich and fertile, now it is no longer. The Count caused this? It is believed so, for why else would his own castle be spared? Ah, thank you, Sir Boatman.
The boatman has nothing more to say. He says he doesn't care if we are coming to raid the castle or not. Maybe he wants passage fee? The boatman accepts your payment and motions for you to climb into the boat. The shrouded ghoul paddles across the toxic lake to the shore on the other side. These thorns and brambles are sharp. Everything here is poison, and I am reminded that the disciple of the air spirit gave us a sugar cube that's supposed to protect from toxins. So we're going to swallow the magic sugar cube and get a feeling of invincibility. And with that, sharp thorns brush against your skin. However, instead of feeling intense pain, you only experience a slight tingling sensation. Evidently, the magic sugar cube did its job. The main entrance to the castle is a set of heavy wooden doors.
It looks to be fairly solid. It also looks to be entirely unwelcoming. Two ghosts waver, as if being threatened by even the slightest breeze, yet something holds them in place. It may be nothing more than an intensely strong determination or sense of purpose that keeps the spirits anchored to this world. When you speak to the ghosts, they utter a mournful wail. As you approach the ghosts wearing the black cloak, they seem to notice you, then begin to drift away towards the cemetery. So it would seem that the black cloak is something that they're familiar with. What is this on the door? The main entrance to the door is a set of heavy... Well, what is that? As you reach to push the massive doors open, you realize there are no handles. The only thing visible is a small keyhole, which slightly resembles a cross. We have a cross that the monks gave to us. Having an idea, you push the crucifix into the cross-shaped hole. It fits. You hear a click and the door unlocks. You push the heavy wooden door open, take a deep breath, and step nervously inside the castle entrance. The moment you enter the great hall of the castle, you begin shivering uncontrollably, and not just from the cold. The place has an air of death wherever you go. I didn't mean to go past that. Well, this is why we save often. As if creeping around this huge castle was not enough, knowing full well that an undead creature resides here would unnerve even the most stout-hearted of adventurers, you feel desperate to get what you came for and anxious to leave as quickly as possible. The Great Hall of the castle is a large room, quite regal in appearance, even in its simplicity. You can imagine that, in days long since past, this would serve as an impressive welcome area to guests and visitors. You suspect that such a grand entrance would be experienced by few, if any, nowadays. The portraits on the wall depict the couple who once lived here. They look young and proud. Behind the mask of apathy that comes with aristocracy, there is a certain kindness in their eyes. I like this. It's obviously, I believe it is new art assets, but the look and feel of the stone is very similar to the stone in the castle in Quest for Glory 4. So there's a callbackness to it. We're going to go up the stairs to the left. Narrow stairs ascend to a room above. There is little light here to see by. There is an old shovel resting against the stone wall. It looks well used. You take the shovel into your possession. A torch has been mounted to the wall here. It does little to cheer up the place, even when lit. And we're going to light the candle that You hold your candle up to the blazing torch. It catches. Your candle is now lit. What's up here? My guide does not have us going up here, but I want to see what's up here. This window looks out onto the island far below. Through it, you see that the bricks of the castle might provide some footholds if you were inclined to go climbing. Oh, that's not. That's good to know that that's there. Similarly, my guide calls for us to go up the stairs to the right now, but I'm going to see what happens when we go back here. Oh my. Velvet curtains drape down along each side of the end bookcase, adding a certain charm to the room. I don't think we'll stay here, but we will come back if we don't come back. I'm sure we will be called to come back. For now, we will try this right staircase.
This is evidently the dining room of the old castle. It is still as drafty here as it is everywhere else, so you imagine yourself declining an opportunity to dine in this room. 8 chairs have been placed around the table. You have a hard time imagining a joyous company of people celebrating in this cold room. I would imagine that the members of the Black Cloak League meet here, like Hagatha and Monanon. You do wonder in these castles where evil people hang out, who is doing all the cooking? Obviously, the Count probably doesn't eat much if he is a Nosferatu and drinks the blood of the living, but presumably his guests would want to eat food. Do they just bring a cold lunch? At least Mordak had Cassima as a slave, although it's hard to imagine that a princess would know very much about cooking. Cooking is a very difficult skill, especially without modern tools. I would very much doubt she would know much about it at all. So we're going to go down this flight of stairs. Oh, gosh dang it. I really do not mean to zip through the dialogue boxes. I don't have that problem with other games. I don't know why I'm having it here. The staircase beyond is very dark. Fortunately, your candle provides just enough light to see where you are going. There is a beautiful, ornate coffin to one side of this eerie room. Dust is everywhere. Cobwebs fill the corners, and a sickly odor permeates the air. The thick black cloak that you are wearing hampers your efforts to lift the coffin lid. Try removing the cloak first. I don't want to. You remove the black cloak again. No, that's not a good sign. Nervously, you lift the heavy lid of the elegant coffin. You peek into its red satin interior. The coffin is unoccupied, and you feel relief wash over you. As you prepare to look inside the coffin, King Ram, I presume, you turn on your heel. There, blocking the only exit from this dismal room, stands the Count. His skin is pale, his eyes jet black. He wears a black cloak nearly identical to the one that you possess. You know me? Yes, indeed. Sister Hagatha alerted me to your arrival, dear king. Can we talk about this? Desperate to stall for time, you query the Count. Sister Hagatha, you say? Who is she? The Count regards you with a suspicious glare. Though I suspect you already know the answer. Hagatha is a charming mage who does as she pleases in this land. Strange. I was not aware a new ruler had been elected. Do not be foolish. Hagatha has no interest in the politics of this wretched place, nor do I, in point of fact. Death tends to diminish one's taste for power. No, at present she is interested in only one thing, as am I, your destruction. The Count no longer appears interested in humoring your delaying tactics. In an instant, you are flat against the wall. The Count has pinned you so well you can't move a muscle, much less put up a defense. You can feel the Count's iron cold hand on your throat. You have barely seconds before the inevitable happens. I think we should give him this ring. With difficulty, you manage to loosen the ruby ring from your finger and drop it to the floor. The Count's eyes dart to it quickly, then flash angrily back to you. Where did you get that? The elderly woman who lives in a house to the south of here, near the beach.
She gave it to me for helping her. The Count regards you for a moment. His dark eyes bore unendingly into yours, and you feel as if your very soul is bare. What do you know of her? She is not well. I know that. Do you think I am not aware of that? You are sweating profusely. Hopefully this vampire doesn't find the odor appealing. Night is the most dangerous of times for my mortal family. I have kept constant vigil over my wife for many years, so that from the darkness no harm would come to her. When her time comes, we will be together forever. I think tonight will be that night. I have seen her this very eve. I did what I could to help her. But I do not think it was enough. He changed into a bat and flew away. As you watch the giant bat fly out of the room, you realize with dread that the Count has confiscated your crucifix. Without it, you are trapped in this castle. What are you going to do? Well, we still need the death gem. You peer into the ornate coffin. Finding it unoccupied, you see that the interior is lined with shiny red satin. At long last, you have located the final gem, the death gem. You breathe deeply, reach out and take the stone in your hands. It is ice cold to the touch, but you don't care. This is the last thing you need to unlock the door of destiny. Now all you have to do is get out of here. Whew. That was intense. We need to get out of here swiftly. And we just so happened to notice that there were handholds for climbing out of the castle. So, what's in here? This is just a small storage room. Rows of red wine barrels are neatly stacked and piled along the wall. At least you think they contain wine. Seeing nothing of any real importance, you head back to the dining room. Interesting. A lot of this really does remind me of the Quest for Glory 4 graphics for the castle there, and that room in particular felt very callback-ish. But let's get out of here. Seeing no other possible escape route, you climb onto the ledge and carefully lower yourself outside, hoping to find a decent foothold. It is a long way down. Oh my. Well... down we go. Carefully. Very carefully. Okay, that's not fair. Suddenly you hear a swishing noise in your ear. It's joined by two others. It's bats. You instinctively try to brush away whatever it is, but in doing so you lose your hold on the bricks and fall backwards. Jerks! Time slows as you fall, and your world turns black. When I saw you, I knew it was true. There's a love between us. It won't be torn in two. Once waked from sleep, I'll smile and speak. We'll open a door forevermore. Food. And our guest has awoken, my love. Oh my. Ah, good evening, dear king. I do not believe we have been properly introduced. I am Count Kaldor, former lord of the realm of Kalima. May I present my wife, Countess Lavidia.
A pleasure to see you again.
In gratitude to you for alerting me to my wife's grave condition, I took the liberty of preparing you a dish. I thought you might be hungry after your harrowing adventure at my window. You will forgive us if we do not join you. Our tastes differ from yours, do they not, my darling?
You shudder to think what different tastes actually mean, but for some reason you note that you can no longer hear any rats squeaking in the distance. Indeed, so much to become accustomed to.
You shall have all the time that the world has to share, to grow accustomed to such things. Well, perhaps 30 years. Should the father locate the item by then, there might not be enough world left for anyone afterwards.
Has this father to do with why you frequently went abroad, always with that cloak of yours?
Most certainly, but I think that my affiliation with him and his association has come to a close. My obligations to them took me away from my beloved too often. I do not wish to repeat that mistake.
You are forgiven, my love. Their attention, which seems to have wavered momentarily, now redirects back to you.
Well. What to do with this one?
What were you going to do with him?
Kill him. I had quite clear instructions from Hagatha, who apparently received them from the father himself.
But if you are not, as you say, affiliated with his association anymore... They both share a knowing smile. Tell us, King Graham, why are you here in Kalima?
You take a deep breath, trying to ignore the fact that you are the only one capable of doing so, and relate your story of the vision and the magic mirror and your quest to find the 3 gems of nature. The Count and Countess exchange cryptic smiles.
Romancing the stones.
Indeed.
Obviously, that was a private joke, as you did not understand it. We're eating, at least.
So you search for the one with which you would share the rest of your life. On that I cannot fault you, nor on your intentions here. Therefore, I can forgive the trespassing. However, there is the matter of the dark gem you wish to remove from my castle. I place a deal before you. I am looking for a magnificent, sapphire-encrusted tiara. It has been a valuable family heirloom and has been on this estate for centuries. This castle and its estate are old, though. It could be virtually anywhere, in any number of hiding places. I suspect there are many that even I am not aware of. I wish to present this tiara to my wife as a gift to commemorate the eternity we shall spend together. If you can find it and bring it to me before sunrise, then I will give you the gem you seek and your freedom.
You nod, unable to believe that you have been virtually ushered away from death's door just so you can run an errand for a couple of vampires. You do not want to think about the consequences if you fail to meet the deadline. The Countess is a slender lady who bears some resemblance to the elderly woman she once was. A black velvet gown graces her figure and makes her appear genuinely regal. Like the Count, her skin is chalk white and her lips are blood red. The Count is a tall, fearsome-looking man. His chalk-white skin, ruby-red lips, and protruding fangs give you chills. An entire smorgasbord adorns the tabletop. It sits upon an elegant blood-red tablecloth. Pardon my asking, but as the Countess of this realm, I presume you have lived in this castle before now? Yes, that is so. Then how did you come to live in that old house by the sea? After my husband died, I continued to live in the castle for a time. I watched my newborn son grow into a man, marry, and have a child of his own.
Possum.
Yes. Shortly after her birth, however, my son and his wife both befell a tragic end at the hands of... The Countess looks pained and appears unable to continue.
I apologize if I have caused you to relive your grief. A vampire cannot truly feel grief, but perhaps my wife still recalls hers. I shall continue for her if you wish.
Please, if I may know, how were your son and daughter-in-law lost to you?
They were slain by the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood? You have met them at the church.
Your mind reels. So that is the connection. Why would the Brotherhood kill your heirs? Oh.
As you have guessed, the Brotherhood wished an end to the reign of my family. Why else would they give you the means to penetrate my domain, so that you could do their dirty work for them? The cross key! Exactly. Stolen from me through stealth and their own brand of magic. The Counts of Kalima have all descended from a single bloodline. We have always been partial to change, as opposed to the stagnating status quo of the Brotherhood. Over the last few decades, the Brotherhood have tried to dispose of my family as best they could. That is why I am now. That which I am now was brought about them. Wow. Let's try that line reading again, Anna. That which I am now was brought about by them. They were the ones who set the monstrous infected bat upon me. Long have I cursed my ineptitude. I should have used magic to defend myself.
Do not be so hard on yourself, my dear. I remember that night well. That hideous creature gave you no chance.
Perhaps, but I should have awoken from my dark sleep sooner. Then I would have been able to protect our beloved son and his wife, and you would not have been forced to flee the castle, to live out your days in that wretched old house under a false identity.
It was not so bad a time. Dear little Possum loved it. I hope she will be happy in her new home. She has a new life now, with no reason to fear anymore.
Really? The Brotherhood, are they real monks? They were once, but something happened to them. Local folklore would have you believe that the Weirwood Forest is host to certain entities. Spirits of the wild, they are called. And what of them? I believe the monks encountered these spirits. What occurred specifically is beyond anyone's knowledge but their own, but it is evident that the men were given the ability to transform themselves. Unfortunately, their minds were also apparently transformed as well. They began to believe they were destined to rule, and since have presented great danger to myself and my family. So the danger you face is not a result of some decades-old feud? Not at all, dear king, though history will likely reflect such. But to answer your question, the members of the Brotherhood are no longer the goodly monks they once were. They do not represent their fellow brethren well. So, I have until just before sunrise to retrieve this tiara? That is correct. And if I am unable to before that time? The Count's eyes glint red as he looks directly into your own. For your own sake, I shall hope that you are successful.
You bravely suppress a shudder. It seems that you are not off the hook yet. The Countess has nothing more to say. The Count has nothing more to say. I want to ask about Possum. What do you mean she has nothing more to fear? She lives with vampires, apparently.
Oh god, you don't think they changed her like Tanya was changed, do you? I don't think so. Oh shit.
You see a young woman sitting on the dusty floor. She has a book in her lap entitled Little Red Riding Hood. I wish I could read this story. All the pretty words. Whatever do they say? The pictures look interesting, but what is this book about? I wish I could read this story.
A young woman sits on the dusty floor. She is reading, or trying to read, a book entitled Little Red Riding Hood. Aside from the pictures, she does not appear to be comprehending the content at all. The book tells the story of a young girl who met a wolf in the forest.
The young woman's head snaps up. Her black eyes drill into your own. You gasp as you realize you are looking at yet another vampire. Just how many has the Count made tonight? The young woman's lips transform from hungry to, fortunately, pleasant recognition. So you are the guest of my grandfather's house. I was hoping I would meet you again. The woman is startlingly beautiful, but in an eerie, unnatural way. You find yourself unable to speak for a moment. She does look somewhat familiar, but from where? Oh, my handsome gentleman does not recognize me?
Should I?
You remember. The basket. The soup. With a start, you recognize the young woman. She's grown and matured considerably since you last saw her. The little girl, Possum, has been transformed completely into this. She has traded her small ruby cloak for a dazzling satin robe of the same color. Are you unhappy with my appearance?
No, It's just that you have me at a disadvantage. I do not know your real name.
Anastasia.
A beautiful name.
Yes, 'twas one of the few things my parents left to me before they died. They are probably buried somewhere on this island, as a matter of fact. What do you seek here?
You explain your so far unsuccessful attempt to locate the tiara. The young woman looks thoughtful for a moment, then suddenly snaps her fingers. A discarded pile of books shift aside from the floor, and a single black book is revealed underneath. She appraises the black book with indignant incomprehension, then holds it out towards you. You take the book from Anastasia's hand.
I do not suppose that has anything to do with it, but it must be about something important. Why would they turn her? He waited so patiently for his wife to have every drop of life before he turned her. Why wouldn't they give Possum that same chance? Are they really that afraid of the werewolves?
How do you feel about what the Count has done to you?
I am not sure. I suppose I should be grateful.
Grateful?
Yes. If he had left me as I was, I would have faced the same danger that claimed the lives of my parents. The murderers hunting my family. The murderers hunt my family still, and we will not be completely safe until they are gone. At least now I need not fear anything that prowls by night.
True enough. And if you can avoid daylight altogether for the rest of eternity, you will be fine.
Well, let's read our book. You open the book and are surprised to discover not pages, but a hollowed-out section in which sits a silver key. The key's handle resembles the shape of a sleeping child. There also appears to be something written on the back cover of the book. A sleeping child. And the book has something written. In the hollow, you can see that the inside back cover has been written on. Some words have been scrawled onto paper. They are faded, but still mostly legible.
If treasure you seek dear to my heart, tales of fiction is where you must start. First find the beauty with stepsisters too. Then visit the huts that the big bad wolf blew. The girl with no flock will usher your way to the little old man who spins gold out of hay. Those two star-crossed lovers shall be your last guide. They'll lead you to riches that pirates did hide. What you earnestly seek shall now truly be yours. They'll get it part wrong, and you'll be greeted by maws. So here's another example of having to bring knowledge to the game that you might not have. A beauty with stepsisters makes me think of Cinderella. A big bad wolf makes me think of the Three Little Pigs. A girl with no flock would be Little Bo Peep. The man who spins gold would be Rumpelstiltskin. Those two star-crossed lovers could be a lot of people, like Tristan and Isolde. Romeo and Juliet. There's plenty of options there. They'll lead you to riches that pirates did hide. Treasure Island? And I don't know what Moz is. This book contains instructions, but instructions pertaining to what, I wonder?
Read it to me.
You do so.
Why, it's the bookcase, silly. It tells you about how you'd find a book from there. You simply have to follow the directions. I am sure you will figure it out.
What is Moz?
He will not bother me, seeing as how I am not appetizing to him. You, on the other hand, would be precisely his cup of tea.
Anastasia's face lights up suddenly.
If you want, I could make you like me. That way you would be safe.
It would have sounded to you like a generous, innocent suggestion from a sweet girl. If it did not involve large losses of essential bodily fluids on your part, you politely decline the offer. Okay. So we have to find the right book. Oh wow, there's a lot. So we need Cinderella. Oh man. There's Cinderella. We need the Three Little Pigs. Oh, did I miss it already? Where is the card catalog? I question how much fun this is. Three Blind Mice. Three Little Pigs. Where are they? There they are. Little Bo Peep was up here, I think. Little Bo Peep. Rumpelstiltskin was down here. And then of Star-Crossed Lovers, I saw... Well, there's several, but let's try Romeo and Juliet. A new book has appeared on the third shelf down. I surely didn't see it. Oh, sure enough, Treasure Island. You've located the correct book. You pluck it from the shelf and read its title, Treasure Island. What's this? There seems to be a lock binding the cover shut. The keyhole requires a small, thin key. We have one of those. She can't read, Graham. Don't taunt her. Okay. The key fits perfectly into the lock. You turn it and hear a soft click. The book is now open. Skimming through the book, you find a map has been sketched onto the last page. Close scrutiny reveals that it is a top-down layout of the castle and its surrounding grounds. According to this, the tiara has been buried near one of the graves. You shudder, hoping that this is not going to be a case of digging all night while trying to avoid unearthed zombies. There's also a small piece of writing near the bottom. A date of fate can be found with a first, a second, and a double of nothing. I don't know what that means. You have a strict and simple rule about vampires. Unless you want to donate blood, do not touch. Should we go tell the Count that we're making progress? I wish only one thing, as payment for helping you find that book. Of course. Would you be so kind as to take this bracelet and place it on my mother's grave? I believe she wanted me to have it while I was alive. Now, it no longer seems appropriate to keep it. Thank you. I must retire now. It will not be long before sunrise. Good night, Graham. Good night, Anastasia. Oh. I think we'll have to tell them we need to go outside, if only to get out the door. They're gone. Well, maybe he left the front door open for us. Otherwise, we're stuck. Oh, he did. Okay. Let's go over here. No, obviously not. Let's go over here. These ghosts waver, so they're still here. You know, the most recent people who've died at this place without becoming vampires are Anastasia's parents. As you hold up the bracelet, the ghosts relax slightly. You wonder if it is now safe to approach them and enter the cemetery. Lord Herbert and Lady Lillian, loving parents of Anastasia, beloved son and daughter-in-law of Count Caldor and Countess Lavidia, our enemies be warned, their untimely deaths shall be avenged. Well, this is the right grave. You place the bracelet on the grave. It sinks down into the earth. The ghosts do not respond at first. Then one of them drifts towards you. It nods, almost sadly. The ghost seems to want to say something, but appears unable. Its face, though transparent and hazy, is lined with grief and torment. Its facial features waver into focus. This ghost is female. We understand that our daughter will never be joining us now. No longer do we need to wait for her. Now we journey to the realm of the dead, where its lord waits to judge us. Farewell. Oh, gosh. You bow your head and cross your heart out of respect. While looking downward, you notice that a beautiful gold ring now lies at your feet. You lift the gold ring from the ground and carefully place it in your pocket. We're looking for the right grave to dig up for the tiara. Marianne Drinkwater. They had traveled safely for many a day until crossing a bridge along their way. She lost her balance and fell to her fate. He tried to save her, but it was too late. Susanna Somnia. He had put her to bed after she'd had her supper, but forgot next morning to stir and wake up her. The noise, he said, is far too loud. As he discerned the maddening crowd, the mob broke in and he did scream. I'd rather this a sight unseen. They strung him up from toe to head. As for after, enough's been said. Kitty. Sudden did the illness come upon sweet Kitty, no longer young. There is nothing more that can be done. Her lives are up. She's had her fun. Someone has a grim sense of humor. This young man sought to be holy, to save himself from being lowly. He joined the hood and won their cloth. Eventually died from professional sloth. They got too old for that. The last word is faded and you cannot read it. Probably just as well. Boris and Olga. There was an old couple named Olga and Stovich, who in truth made quite a nice pair. They lived with each other for many long years till they wound up in each other's hair. That's a reference to King Quest 4. Or Quest for Glory 4, sorry. I don't see any of them saying, dig here, dig me. Let's try one more round. Lord Herbert and Lady Lillian. Okay, the young Ever, his time so near, said he, my dear, lend me your ear, please do not fear, my life ends here. His date of death is 1200.
where we saw that riddle that said a first, a second, and double of nothing. That's what 1200 is, a first, a second, and double of nothing. So I think this is where we're supposed to dig. You stop digging when your shovel hits something hard. Nervously, you reach down, open the coffin, and look inside. You search through the belongings of the deceased. According to the headstone, they belong to a Count Christopher Ever. After some tentative searching, you find a parchment. It appears to be the last will and testament of Larman Obnarb, healer. This isn't right. You run your eyes over the parchment. It's dated 1200, the same as the date on the headstone. However, the instructions pertaining to the burial were for Larman to be placed near his family at the church's cemetery. Oh dear. That's a problem. So we found the wrong grave, and we're going to have to go back to that terrible church. I'm going to assume that the boatman will let us leave, otherwise we're in trouble. The boatman has nothing more to say. You climb back into the decrepit rowboat, and the shrouded ghoul ferries you across the lake. We need to go to that terrible, terrible church. And I don't want to. but we must. And I'm going to cut the video here, and when we come back, we'll pick up in the next one. Because I don't think we're going to be able to do it in 10 minutes. So once again, this has been King's Quest II by AGD Interactive. It's the remake of the original Sierra game. And my name is Anna Mardal, and thank you so much for coming along with me. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.